If I could go back and talk to myself, I'd tell that girl to like chin up. Things are fine. Nothing to be scared of. It's not a tragedy. It's not an emergency.
And I don't know, the divisiveness that I see on social media is like, man, everybody's just trying their best. Everybody's doing what they can. Like, your autism is specific to you. I mean, that's the phrase, right? You know, one person with autism, you know, one person with autism.
So pathological demand avoidance, if I were to just explain it simply, I would say it's an elevated nervous system response to everyday demands. We need to show them who's boss. Well, we could do those things and we're going to cause trauma and burnout for our kid if we do.
This is the UNspecial podcast, and today's guest is a mother raising 4 autistic children, 6 children in total, and a powerful advocate helping parents understand one of the most misunderstood autism profiles, PDA, or persistent drive for autonomy, which, full disclosure, I had no idea what this was.
Yeah.
And I've been in the special needs world for 10 years. So if you've ever felt like traditional parenting advice only made things worse, if you've wondered whether your child is struggling, not stubborn, this episode will bring clarity, hope, and practical strategies to help families move from chaos to calm. Amber, thanks for being here.
Hey, Zach, I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Yeah. So you come to us from Arizona. It's probably, is it hitting 100 yet?
Oh yeah, we're in triple digits already. Yep. We were hitting them in March and it's June. So
how do you cool off? Like, I have the beach. What do you have?
We have pools.
Pools.
Yeah.
Sprinklers, hoses.
Sprinklers and splash pads. Yep.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna rapid fire through 5 questions.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
You got 30 seconds per response.
Okay.
One word that describes your parenting journey. I'll give you 6 words. You have 6 kids.
I was just gonna say wild, and maybe an evolution.
Yeah. It's always evolving.
Yeah.
Most misunderstood PDA trait.
A defiance. I would say perceived defiance.
And we're gonna go deep into PDA.
Okay.
And it's not public display of affection.
Nope, that's not what we're talking about here.
Not here. Not on the special podcast. All right, best piece of advice for overwhelmed parents.
What's a good piece of advice? I don't know. Breathe. Just take a breath.
Yeah. And
every hard moment's gonna pass. It's gonna pass. Just breathe.
Isn't it crazy how often we forget to breathe?
Right? That's literally what we tense up. We hold our breath. We brace for impact. We're not breathing.
No. I just started doing like breath work.
Yeah.
Wim Hof just on the app.
Nice.
And it's crazy. I'll catch myself throughout the day now, like I'm not breathing, or like super shallow breaths, and then you can feel it in your chest.
Yes,
that's a good one. A habit that helps you stay grounded.
I don't know if I have good habits. Like, I might come off like I've got something figured out, but I'm struggling like the rest of you. I don't even know what to say. I have a great husband that is my like co-regulation partner. That's how I survive.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's huge. That co-regulation piece is everything, especially as a parent with their kids. I just talked with Sarah in Stones by Sarah about all this. That co-regulation in managing behaviors. It worked wonders in the classroom. I would always get on my staff like, if you escalate with them, you're going to make it worse.
Yeah.
Just stay calm. Yeah.
Exactly.
What does calm mean to you?
What does calm mean to me? I mean, it's something to reach for. It's something to reach for. And like, I'm at a point in my life where like, I have 6 kids. You mentioned that. I have my 4 oldest ones are now all adults, and my youngest adult just graduated high school. So I've raised a batch of kids. I can't say they're all out of the house, but three of the old 4 will be out of the house in the next couple months. And then I have the little ones. And I'm at this place in our life now where I feel calm. Like
Okay.
I realize we did a pretty good job as parents. Like
Nice.
everybody's status quo. Things aren't perfect, but there's no fires right now. And I that is the calm that I enjoy right now.
So interesting. Do you find yourself like bracing for something? Something going to happen, or
No,
it's just like it feels good.
no. I think I've got to a point where I mean I understand that things will continue to happen that are hard. That's part of life. I
Yeah.
just know that I'll handle it. I'm not scared of it anymore.
Yeah. And your kids are older. I talk to a lot of families with younger kids, so this can be fascinating. What are the ages of your children?
From youngest to oldest, we have 5 and 7, and then 18, 19, 22, 22.
18, 19, 20. Okay, big gap.
Yeah.
So you're back in the early days while being in the older days.
Yeah, it's
Um,
weird. All of our friends are empty nesters and like we would be right now almost and not our story.
Not at all. All right, so when did autism come in the picture?
Well, autism came in the picture long before I knew it was autism, back 20 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, so my oldest son was received his autism diagnosis not officially medically until he was 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but if I had him as a toddler now, he would have had that diagnosis by age 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
Wow.
a different time, and we had to piece it all together over many years.
Right. So then that was the first one
Mhm.
diagnosed, and you had three to follow.
Right. So then 20 years into our marriage, IVF, miracle babies, because my first kids, we adopted them all as babies. And then
Okay.
IVF finally worked. That's my 7 year old. And then we had some leftovers. So that's my 5 year old. And um, so it went out of order. So my 7 year old, we had her diagnosed at around 2.5. That was during COVID time. And so she was 27 months. And that was the next diagnosis. And do you want me to just keep going and rattle it off real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
The
I
rest of
want
them?
to hear the backstory. Yeah.
Yeah. Then my littlest one, she ends up with what I call an accidental diagnosis, and we can come back to that if you want, at about 19 months because she was hitting her milestones. That's its own story. That's my PDA girl.
Hmm.
So she was 19 months, and for a long time I was like, oh wow, here we have 3 autistic kids, and this is crazy. And
Hmm.
then about a year and a half ago, I took what was then my almost 18-year-old daughter, one of them, for a full psychological evaluation because she'd struggled with her mental health since she was 12. And we knew of some things, but I suspected other things, but other things that you couldn't really diagnose till 18 officially. When I did that full battery of testing on her, she actually came out with an autism level 1 diagnosis, among other things, as well. So super late diagnosed adult daughter. Get I already had 3 diagnoses, and I was missing hers.
Oh man.
So yeah, it's been a journey.
And so what are the older ones up to now?
My oldest boy, he lives in a group home, which is crazy because he would be considered, and I don't love these labels, but he would be considered high functioning,
Okay.
level 1, meaning he can talk and
Yeah.
he can
Yeah.
advocate for himself to a degree. He still requires a high level of support. And so he isn't supported in a group home, which means he literally lives in a house with roommates. There's just
Yeah.
staff there to
Right.
make
Right.
sure things are getting done that he needs to
Okay.
get done. So he's been in a group home for about 4 years, and he's getting ready to start automotive tech. certification
Nice.
program at the community college. So my fingers are crossed that that goes well. We'll see.
So is that funded by you or by the state?
By the state through
Oh,
vocational
nice.
rehabilitation program. Hmm.
Okay. Was
Same
that
with the group
hard?
home.
Was that hard to get or
No, not once
no?
we had a diagnosis. You know, you just apply for it. At least here in Arizona, you just
Uh-huh.
apply for it and then they start.
Okay. Good to know for all the listeners. For those that have older
Yeah,
kiddos, there's options within the state. You just gotta apply and do the paperwork.
you have to know where to look. I know, and do lots of paperwork. But yeah, that's the tricky part. There's no easy roadmap, and every state is different. But
Mm-hmm.
especially if you get your kid on your state's waiver, if you can, their Medicaid waiver, that opens a lot of doors. You need the medical diagnosis first, get them on the waiver, and then you got to learn about the programs that are in your state. But there are resources. You just have to learn how to hunt for them.
Did somebody show you, or you just did your
It's
homework?
like there was one really impactful person that came into my life back in the day that put me on the right path. Like
Yeah.
she was a client of mine who
Uh-huh.
happened to run group homes for men with disabilities. And at that
Wow.
time, my son was like 11, and I was lamenting. I was like, oh, she gets these disabilities. Like, I was lamenting about how much we were struggling to her. And she asked me if I had what we call in Arizona DDD, Department for Developmental Disabilities. Every state
Mm-hmm.
has something like this. It might be called something slightly different. She asked if we had services for him through that. I had never heard of it before. He's 11 years old. I had never heard of it before. But because she mentioned that, I was able to realize, oh, I need to get him a medical diagnosis in place because he only had an educational designation at that point. And
Oh.
then with the medical diagnosis, we could apply for this state disability services, and then for the waiver, which is essentially health insurance for the individual, not contingent on your income, contingent on the disabled person's income, which is probably zero or not a lot. So yeah,
Yeah.
so as far as who helped me, there were a couple people that, I feel like my higher power kind of put in my life at the right time, and I'm so grateful for. But most of it is figuring it out yourself, asking around, talking to other parents.
Yeah. What would you say, I don't know, maybe you went through it. A lot of moms, dads I talk to go through the denial phase and they don't want that diagnosis.
Hmm.
But as you've just explained, getting the medical diagnosis actually
Mhm.
opens up a window to a lot of services
Yeah.
and support out there. Did you have to break through that, or was it like, is what it is?
I was just thinking about that this morning because I thought we might talk about it, and I think it's important to note like the vastly different emotional responses I had for each diagnosis depending on the child and my life at the time. So like for that child who's now 22, to finally have his diagnosis at age 12 felt really validating, and I needed it. And that was
Okay.
a good thing. Now, raising him was really hard for me, and it's not his fault. I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know. And
Hmm.
so I associated the word autism with hard, such that when my little one received a diagnosis all those years later at 2.5, I was devastated, you know? And I don't feel that way now. If I could go back and talk to myself, I'd tell that girl to like chin up, things are fine, nothing to be scared of. It's not a tragedy, it's not an emergency. Like I've learned so much about autism that I didn't know the 20 years raising an autistic son.
Right.
But yeah, so I was sad for a while when that diagnosis came, and then when her baby sister's diagnosis came, I was kind of like, okay, well, I don't know, this is weird. She doesn't seem quote unquote autistic to me. I'm gonna go with it because it's just seems like good support, and it seems like it could only help. We obviously know what to do, so I wasn't too stressed out about that one. And then
Uh-huh.
again with my daughter, the late diagnosed daughter, it was validating. It was like,
Okay.
oh, okay, this actually makes some sense. But a lot of times, depression, anxiety, ADHD, mental health issues can be really misconstrued. Teenager angst with what the underlying issues are. Also trauma.
Yeah.
Like that all can be really confusing and you not realizing we're actually dealing with an autistic person. And so, yeah. So different reactions for different kids, I would say.
And that I mean that totally makes sense. And it's almost like the later diagnosis, it like confirms what you've been thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, crazy. What I mean, and the word autism is so convoluted. Like it's a
Stigmatized,
it's a
maybe?
different meaning for everybody,
Yeah.
especially those on the profound side. Autism
Yes.
is a completely different ballgame
Yes.
than for on the lower support side.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't the divisiveness that I see on social media is like, man, everybody's just trying trying their best.
I
Everybody's
know.
doing what they can. Like your autism is specific to you. I mean, that's the phrase, right? You know, one person with autism, you know, one
Yeah.
person with autism. So it's like, I don't know. I don't personally have any children on the spectrum. I
Okay.
taught special education for 7 years.
Okay.
I saw the struggle parents went through, and I always, sitting through so many IEP meetings, I'm like, there's got to be a space and for these parents to share their story and find
Yeah.
some hope hearing other people's stories. And so that's where the podcast came from, and it's fun to sit in the space. But it's like, as somebody who is not in the day-to-day life of you parents, seeing both sides of the spectrum fight over it, I'm just like,
Oh,
it's like, let's just validate everybody's journey. Like,
that's
it's
exactly how I feel. I don't like the infighting online. And I validate everyone's experience. And I think we should all have like compassion and curiosity for each other's experiences
that's
and
it, the
just love each other.
curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah.
like, and for so long, I taught profound autism,
Okay.
non-speaking, violent classrooms, and the profound side was and still is kind of silenced a little bit. It's like, and so I can see some of their angst,
Yeah.
and that's why I love this space because they can share their story, but then also the lower support needs side, like it's still a journey. It's not something you signed up for,
Right.
and it's kind of
Right.
like back to the power of the mind is how you go about it and choose to find the wins in your day.
Amen.
Yeah. All right. So that the oldest one's crushing it. He's about to start fixing cars.
Yep.
Um, who's next in line?
Oh, um, so my daughter that's late diagnosed with autistic, she's
Yeah.
actually doing great too. She is a dental assistant. She
Oh,
works,
no way. Nice.
yeah, she works for an orthodontist and she works, 4 days straight and she gets herself up on time. She takes her medication. She's a delight for the customers and her doctors that she works for. She comes home and crashes and bed rots for the next 3 days. But you know what? She's doing it. Like she
Doing
does still
it.
live at home, but I'm really proud of her. And I know I think she's capable of everything. It's just going to maybe be a slower entry to independence, so to speak, for her. And not everybody even moves out of their parents' house, and that's okay too. But yeah, she's doing really good.
And she's 20, you said? 19?
She's 19.
19. And
Yeah.
then and then you have the little ones. The little ones are diagnosed.
Yeah, 5 and 7. One autistic, one PDA autistic. I only say that because they're so different. But I
Yeah.
guess every autistic person is different from each other. But yeah, they're honestly thriving too. They're doing phenomenal.
Nice. So seven, what is that? First grade? Second grade.
Going into first and second this next school year.
That's awesome. I have a 7 and I have fourth grader, a third grader, and a first kindergarten.
Okay.
So kind of kind of know the age
Magical
a little
ages.
bit.
Those are great ages.
Yeah. All right, PDA. Let's break it down. Persistent drive for autonomy. What? Yeah. Can you just break it down? Like, what is it?
PDA? Okay, let's talk about PDA. Um,
This is your wheelhouse.
it's so interesting. It's fascinating. Well, you said persistent drive for autonomy, and some people love that version. I'll just say for anybody that wants to research it, like technically, it's at this point it stands for pathological demand avoidance.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
it is a persistent drive for autonomy. I'm just the phrase that's been researched since the 1980s is pathological demand avoidance.
Right.
And from its inception, it was believed to be a profile of autism. And so, Zach, I just want to mention, sorry, you might need to edit this out, but you've been frozen for like 5 minutes. Is that okay?
I think so. I see you. You're.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just your video has been frozen for 5 minutes, but that's okay. I'll keep going. Um, so pathological demand avoidance, if I were to just explain it simply, I would say it's an elevated nervous system response to everyday demands.
Okay. Elevated nervous system response to everyday demands. How do you differentiate that with defiance?
Yeah, because it can look a lot like, oh my gosh, I have this child that is so defiant. And like, what is wrong with them or what is wrong with me in the way I'm parenting? It can be really confusing. You just have to understand that the idea behind PDA is a really sensitive nervous system. Some people call it a nervous system disability. It's like what's the phrase? Like a hair trigger,
Mm,
like very sensitive response to any loss of autonomy or even to internal demands can really set them off to where their brain flips into fight or flight. And then they start responding to things as simple as get on your shoes or it's time to go with these big, wild, explosive reactions and resistance. And that looks like defiance, but it's really a threat response.
oh wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I love nervous system conversations, and I do a lot of nervous system care, and I speak to a lot of biomedical and functional alternative medicine, and all of it always comes back to nervous system. If you're
Yeah.
in fight or flight, everything is more difficult. So then
Yeah.
it's transitioning into that rest and digest. What are some things that you have done that help?
Yeah. Well, I once I understood what was going on, I had to learn what can help. And what can help PDA people, so to speak, really can look quite the opposite of what society says is good parenting
Hmm.
or even typical autism strategies can backfire. PDA kids might become really resistant to therapies like speech and OT, not because there's anything wrong with what's happening, but because the way they're being approached by the therapist feels to them like a loss of autonomy. So then there's resistance. And what's supposed to be helping is doing the opposite of helping. So um, it just, as a parent, it becomes about getting creative in the way that you approach and say things and respond to their responses.
Yeah. And then like having that intuition to know like, oh, they're in fight or flight right now. Nothing I say or do
Yes.
is probably going to help. Like
Yes.
perfect example of that this morning. My kids are in camp, but my oldest didn't want to go to camp. So
Okay.
huge meltdown, like
Okay.
for 45 minutes. I explained to him multiple times what's going to go on. If he stays home, like he's not going to enjoy himself. He's going to have to sit there and do nothing, blah blah blah. But he was in fight or flight for a good 45 minutes.
Wow. I wonder why. Do you know why?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of it is I have to balance out the our life right now. Like for 2 years, my wife's been fighting cancer, and so I have to balance like his grieving, his emotions, his
Yeah.
fight or,
Okay, sure.
and it's like the whole package. And for some reason, he's got in his head summer is all about not doing anything and just staying home and playing all day and having fun, which
Okay.
summer is for fun.
Yeah.
But I, get him into these camps because I think it's beneficial, blah, blah, blah. And he had fun on Tuesday. So,
Yeah.
but it came down to, he just said he wanted to hang out with me.
Okay.
And I was
Looking for
like, oh,
connection, maybe.
yeah. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, bro, I am with you all day, every day. I'm literally not with you for 9 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
When you're at camp for 3.5 hours in church, other than that, and he was sleep. He lives in my room, like so. I'm like, we will have more time together if you just go to camp, and
Yeah.
that kind of started. He started to figure that out.
Okay.
But in the midst of a meltdown like that, what are some effective strategies and tools?
It sounds like you approached it intuitively, and since you understand the nervous system, you probably get it more than the average person. But yeah, I feel like, and this is something that's tricky in general in parenting, but like once you understand PDA, you can start to understand why you have to look at it different. But I like to explain it like this: when the nervous system flips into fight or flight, I I use the analogy of like everybody has a body alarm and
Mm-hmm.
it goes off to keep us safe. And it goes off, if we're worried about something, if something seems scary, whatever. Now, kids, people with PDA, they have more sensitive nervous systems. Their body alarms go off more often and more intensely than other people.
Mm-hmm.
When that happens, trying to reach them, reason with them, teach them, educate them, discipline them, correct them, when they have flipped into fight or flight, they are not in their thinking brain, they are not reachable at that time.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It's as if, imagine, because you're a teacher, you especially remember this. Remember the fire drills and fire alarms that are up on the wall that will go off, right?
Oh, the worst.
The worst. Now, when that fire alarm is going off, it's doing its job. It only knows how to go off. You cannot walk up to the fire alarm and say, "Excuse me, fire alarm, this is a drill. There's not an actual fire. I need you to turn off." Because that's not how it works. It needs to
Yeah.
be turned off in a specific way. It's doing its job. So, like, that's what's happening when our child flips into fight or flight. And the way that we help them is just by reducing demands in the moment, like co regulating with them, staying calm, maybe getting down beneath them, maybe not saying too much at all, but just letting them feel your presence. Maybe saying a few things like, "Ooh, this feels hard. Oh, I'm sorry you're not ready. You didn't like it when I decided for you." Maybe just like you could, say a sentence or two, but don't say too much and just allow them the time and space to naturally come back down into their thinking brain so that alarm stops blaring, and then we can collaborate and partner and talk further about whatever is trying to be accomplished.
That's that's a that's awesome. That just made me think in my situation this morning. He obviously wanted connection,
Yeah.
and the thing we connect over the most is playing catch. So
Nice.
early, I should have just said, "Hey, I know you don't want to go to camp. You're struggling, whatever. Let's just go play some catch for a little while." And then probably that connecting would have been like
Yeah.
good enough to get him by for the next 4 hours to go to camp.
Yeah. That would have been a good idea. I wonder if he would have bit on that, but I love that
Yeah.
idea.
But then it's like what one thing could work today and doesn't work tomorrow,
Exactly.
right?
Yep. That's true too. And so you got to stay on your toes and just kind of build a database of tools in your mind that you can pull from.
Yeah. So then what are some signs that somebody could look out for if their kid is PDA autistic?
Okay, let's talk about signs. Parents will say things like, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells all the time.
Yes.
Um, they might say, gosh, my child is like really bossy or controlling for their age. They might say, um, like that the PDA person or child is kind of fixated on one parent as their safe person. So like they'll only let one parent take them potty, make them food, open a wrapper, they just kind of fixate and attach to one person. And in general, PDA kiddos tend to maybe not fixate as much as quote unquote the typically autistic kid would on something like cars or trains or whatever. They might fixate on people instead
Mm.
of things. So I feel like that's interesting. And then the other thing is like they can be really sweet and charming 1 minute, and then like the next minute they just explode for seemingly no reason. And so a lot of parents might say, I feel like my child's like Jekyll and Hyde. And then the last thing would be a really big elevated no, like and a default no to any question or expectation. I think those are good ones to look out for.
Okay. So I can see it's one of the misconceptions. Say you're in the grocery store
Okay.
and your child is having a big scene of defiance. The parent is very calm and collected and co-regulating with them, but to the outsider, it
Mm-hmm.
could look like that the
Mm-hmm.
child is winning, quote unquote, the power struggle, and
Yeah.
then the parent is looked at like, what are you even teaching this guy?
Yep.
Is that kind of like the misconception around PDA?
Oh, yes. A PDA parent is going to have such situations like that unfold all the time and
Uh-huh.
probably feel very judged and misunderstood, even and especially by their partner or their friends and family, certainly by strangers,
Right.
because we're playing the long game and the people from the outside looking in don't understand what we're doing or why we're doing it. They think we're being like weak, or we're afraid to stand up to our child, or we need to just make them muscle through. We need to help them build tolerance. We need to show them who's boss. Well, we could do those things, and we're going to cause trauma and burnout for our kid if we do. I mean, that's kind of the thought process behind it.
Yeah. Huh. So interesting. Okay, so let's get into a little bit about your advocacy. You have a community of moms that you coach or train, teach.
I Yeah, I do. I work with moms from all over in different capacities. I have different offerings, so to speak, to
Okay.
support PDA parents.
Yeah, what are some of the offers?
So I have some like really easy, quick win offers, low ticket offers that like people can grab, like the PDA Parent Starter Kit, just kind of like a little workshop. You get
Okay.
emailed a little video, a quick video for 3 days in a row, and then there's some PDFs that just can kind of get your bearings on if your child really fits PDA, and kind of the shift that changes things if they do, and some things you can do to start implementing to have better outcomes with your child and in your home. I also have a communication toolkit. So for parents that are looking for actual scripts to help them talk to school
Hmm.
teams or professionals or family members, and they don't know what to say or how to say it in a way that it can be heard, because a lot of people have never heard of PDA or they don't subscribe to it because, by the way, it's not an official diagnosis at this
Hmm.
point. So I want to make sure your listeners know that. So that does make it tricky. Um, but yeah, so I have some low ticket toolkits like that, and then I have something a little bit more intensive, the PDA parenting pivot, where we get together, we meet once a week, and we troubleshoot what's going on daily and talk about how to see what's happening through a different lens so that you can become fluent in how a PDA brain works and learn how to respond in real time without so much like mental load, so that responding
Oh,
and supporting and accommodating becomes more second nature. So I have different offerings like that.
okay. How long you been doing that?
I honestly only niche down to supporting inside. the PDA niche,
Uh-huh.
maybe like 9 months ago.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
Before that, it was more serving generally in the autism space and then helping with the funding piece. But like what we were talking about earlier, the Medicaid, the ESA, the
Hmm.
special education navigation, insurance. So I was doing a lot of that as well. But now I'm solely focused on supporting parents in the PDA space.
Was there like a aha moment, or why did you niche down?
I just felt like I needed to find my footing in the autism space because I had so many areas I could focus on or support parents with. And
Uh-huh.
I'm a beauty professional. I used to do lashes and brows. I'm an educator in that space, but I just feel called to the autism space. But
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly where I would end up serving. Once I started seeing the response when I would post about PDA, I felt like I think we need more of this. Like people need more help here. And it's not new. Like I said, it's been researched since the 1980s, but I feel like people are still waking up to it. And so I'm just someone who likes to take information that's hard to understand and synthesize it and like explain it in more duplicatable, easy digestible ways of understanding said information. So for me, this is fun because like I get to like develop curriculum and support parents.
Okay.
And it's so,
Yeah,
I don't know, that's just, it feels like where I was meant to fall.
that's great. I mean, yeah, PDA. I never. I don't think I've ever heard of it until I saw your account.
Well, listen, don't feel bad. I was talking with another friend of mine in my neighborhood who is a fellow mom to a 22-year-old autistic son.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, Amber, when we went to lunch the other day and you kept talking about PDA, I had to go look it up. I'd never heard of it. Like, 22 years with an autistic son, and she had his diagnosis since he was 3. But
Yeah.
unless you're in social media land, you probably don't know about it.
Yeah. I mean, and they're not talking about it in school.
We need
Um,
to talk about it in schools to teachers.
oh yeah. I mean, it would be PDA and presuming competence. I feel like would make
Yeah.
teachers' lives a lot easier if they were taught.
Yes.
You know, presumed intelligence and behaviors are they're not exactly what they look like on the outside.
I know. It's like those things seem so simple once you say
Hmm.
them out loud, but I don't envy what a teacher has to navigate, especially now more than ever. But it also seems like if we could open up some minds around these things, then we wouldn't have kids burning out so much and having to leave school and maybe we'd have less stressed teachers and I don't know. It all seems hard. I don't know the answers, but I am speaking at a summit in July for teachers and I'm so excited
Oh, that's cool.
to do that because I feel like it's so needed.
It's funny, like when you climb the ranks in the education system, like you start out as an instructional aide, and you're very involved with the students. Like
Okay.
you're with the student all day, and
Yeah.
then you become like a lead instructional aide. You become a teacher. You move into admin. Blah blah blah. You slowly every rank you climb, you get away from the students.
Yeah. That makes
But
sense.
and it's like every good aide always becomes a teacher.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like. I loved I loved hanging out with the students, but when I was teaching, I'm like the paperwork. Come on, you're
Yeah.
pretty much all as a teacher. You manage your staff and you do paperwork. You're like not even
Um,
with the students. I mean, you set the curriculum, do all the activities and everything, but as far as like sitting down and actually doing it, you have no time because you have to manage 8 kids in a room with 6 staff, and then you're taking data so you can do the paperwork, present
yeah.
it, and it's like I don't know, it's kind of all backwards.
Well, and I've heard, tell me if this is true. Like I've heard when you're a special education teacher, you're really not given knowledge or curriculum around supporting autistic students at
No,
all.
no way.
You're on your
Um,
own.
You're on your own. As far as like scaffolding it or making it personalized to the
Mhm.
student and to the skills and traits that they have, it's all you just figuring it out on the fly. Thankfully, I had a couple of awesome mentor teachers, but for the new teachers coming in, it's just fly by the seat of your pants and figure out what works.
Do you have a lot of teachers that listen to your podcast?
There's a handful. Yep.
Well, I just want your audience to know about I think it's called the Preschool Autism Summit that's in July.
Okay.
It's put on by Tara from Autism Little Learners. And don't be discouraged by, preschool. I feel like the information that you can get for free at this summit, whether you work with younger learners or older learners, will be amazing, specific to autism and even PDA.
Okay. So, what would it take to get PDA into schools? Speaking gigs like this, awareness.
I guess so. I will say the school that my little girls attend, it's a private autism specific school here in Arizona. It
Okay.
is newer. They just finished their second year. We've been with them since the beginning. Um, I don't know how I got so lucky, but by their first year, they sent some of their key staff to PDA like conferences. So my girls attend a PDA informed school because key
Oh
staff
wow.
would go to the conferences and then come back and teach to the rest of the staff.
Oh cool.
And so far, I feel like that's why my 5-year-old PDA girl has been doing so well in school, because that's not the
I
case
see.
for most PDA kids. I don't know if it'll continue to go that well. It will literally be contingent on each year's teacher and how well she will focus on connection over correction and
Yes.
compliance. And
And
whenever that stops being the case, we'll have to bounce.
yeah, I had a conversation with the mom a couple weeks ago, and she was asking me if she should send her child to a like a what was it, a Montessori school, but like
Hmm.
more holistic, hands-on, learn by doing approach, or
Yeah.
public school.
Yeah.
The only caveat is she would have had to move like an hour away to go to
Okay.
the more hands-on school. And I was like, honestly, I can go off on the school system, but it really just going to come down to the teacher.
Yes.
It's like there's a system that public school has to abide by, whatever, but the teacher can do, especially in more moderate to severe special education, you can pretty much do what you want as long as you're following the IEP. But as far as like programming your day, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to the teacher if it's going to be a good experience for the student or not,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is unfortunate because it's like a game of, chance.
Yes. And that's unfortunate for the average learner, and it's super unfortunate when for autistic learners, or especially PDA autistic learners.
Right. Right. So then how do you, we'll close it out with a couple more. How do
Okay.
you measure progress?
When it comes to PDA,
Hmm.
I'm learning, like, obviously a lot of parents online, when they are discovering PDA, their child is already in full blown like burnout of some level. They're having to their behaviors are up here. They have zero window of tolerance. They're having to pull them out of school. They're refusing to leave the house. Terrible situations. So hard.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a unique situation, in a rare situation, in that I caught PDA with my girl when she was 3 and immediately started studying. And I go hard for research when it comes to my kids or something I'm interested in. So,
Yeah.
like, immediately we started pivoting. And then I got staff around her that were also willing to learn about PDA and change their approach. And therefore, I feel like she has a little bit of an advantage because she has been supported and accommodated. So generally, she's doing so well. She is pretty flexible. She's definitely PDA. We have hard moments.
Hmm.
When it was Christmas break, this past Christmas break, I learned, oh, this was really hard on her. Fireworks.
I don't
You
know
would
why I
think,
did that.
oh, like it's a break, so there's less demands. There's a less rigid schedule. That should be good. Like, actually, no, because she lost her scaffolding of what
Mm,
usually happens day to day. And then there was presents and there was family and there was vacations. And it, by the time we were done with 2 weeks of Christmas break, she was not a child I recognized. She was refusing to leave the house, refusing to get dressed, refusing to get out of the car, withholding going potty all day long. And I was like, I broke her. Like something broke. I don't know what happened. And then I saw within 2 weeks of normalcy, she returned. But then we
mm,
went out of town for a 3-day weekend. And that actually was really hard on her again. And then it was another 2 weeks of not quite herself, and she returned to baseline again. And we've been at baseline for the past few months. Well, now it's summer,
mm.
we'll see what happens. But what I'm learning is when properly, I don't want to say properly, when supported and accommodated, we can really help our PDA kids like access a calm nervous system most of the time, find a nice baseline, and they can dip into moments of not full blown burnout. I don't know what to call it. Hard times, but they can come out of it.
Okay.
And so I think what was the exact question? I feel like I lost it.
Um, I don't
That's
remember.
okay.
I think you
That's
answered
okay.
it. Oh,
I
how do you measure progress?
yeah, I don't know. For me, like I don't know that I'm measuring progress with her, but I'm understanding what her baseline is and I'm realizing that we can bounce back from hard moments. And
Mm,
like I almost feel like I've learned to play offense with her rather than defense. So I can get ahead of what I know might be a hard moment or something that triggers her and I can like say something differently to accommodate, or I can approach it in a way that doesn't signify threat to her nervous system. And then I can help her stay calm more often. And that's really
yeah.
nice.
Do you find that it is more exhausting for you to do all that, or is it bring more peace?
It doesn't, I get tired sometimes, but I feel like because I'm to the other side of understanding things to where things feel so second nature, and almost easy to me. I'm not fighting myself with, oh, but I need to make sure she does this and she complies and oh, I'm going to look like a bad parent if her hair isn't brushed or she's wearing her pajamas to school today or she went to bed in a costume. Like, since I've been able to let go of so much of what is, quote, expected, like I'm just chill. Nothing really stresses me out. It doesn't feel so hard anymore. I also
Yeah.
intuitively understand what's happening while it's happening and have a toolkit in my brain of things that I will do in that moment to accommodate. So it just feels easy now.
Well, and I think it comes to that awareness and being clear in your mind, like in those moments, that
Yeah.
it's not a power struggle. They literally cannot process anything you're asking them to do.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
like for me, I feel myself in those fight or flight moments. Like I am the dad. They will do what I say, and
Yes.
there's no other way.
Yep.
But
Normal.
and then, but like developmentally, they literally can't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's still in the moment though. I can feel myself just tensing up. I'm like,
Well, you're
no,
human. Those are normal responses. And I don't always do everything perfect. And I yell and I go,
right,
"Crap, why did I do that? Why did I say that?" Like, we're human.
totally,
But I think, I will say, just because I've been parenting for over 2 decades, like what having a PDA child has taught me is, I don't know, it's changed how I parent all my kids. It's changed, well, it's really changed everything, but like in the best way possible.
right, right. Oh, that's so good. All right, drop one more line of hope for parents listening. What what can they be hopeful about?
Yeah, I mean, like if you suspect you have a child that fits the PDA profile, just know that you're not failing. Like you just don't know. And when it comes to something like PDA, it very truly is like being dropped into a new country where you don't speak the language, and you're there, and like you might even realize at some point, oh, okay, this is France. Okay, they speak French here. Okay, like this, you might understand a few things as you get your bearings, but you are not fluent in French yet. So things feel really hard. And so when it comes to PDA, it is going to be learning an entire new culture and language. And that feels hard at first. It feels hard even when you do understand. But once you learn to speak PDA fluently, and this is what I teach, it becomes more second nature. And you can find calm more often and maybe faster in your home.
Yeah, and I can see it really like alleviating all that questioning and wondering, where it's like
Yeah.
you see it now, you're versed in PDA, and you see it all in front of you. You're like, oh yeah, it makes sense. I'm gonna stay
Yeah.
calm because I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Versus, why won't they stop? Awesome. All right, so you are on Instagram. Autism Savvy, SAVVY is the
Yes.
handle.
And
Amber
TikTok.
Arrington and TikTok. Anywhere
Yeah.
else?
Those are my two main places right now.
Okay. So go find Amber and get versed in PDA. It's gonna calm your life down. Thank you so much, Amber, for being here. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Zach. It was fun.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. We love these conversations, and our goal is for all of you parents to be seen and heard in community with one another, inspired and equipped to take on this life. Just remember one thing: if you don't hear anything else, if you don't remember anything from this week's episode, hear this: you are enough. You have what it takes. Thanks again for being here.